Hello everybody and welcome back to another video today. Today we are moving on from the push along James, which was not as bad as I thought it would be, but obviously it could have been a lot, much better. It could have been worse. That's the mantra when it comes to Mattel merch. But we are moving on from James and going to be reviewing Henry the Green Engine. Okay, so we have Henry on the turntable and wow. Why is Henry so much smaller than James? This is the first thing I noticed when I put Henry on the turntable. And I'm sure it's the first thing that you are noticing. Henry, compared to James, should be massive. Henry and Gordon tower over James in the original series. And you might say, well, these are not based off of the original series. And to that I will say, yeah, that's why they're bad. That's why they're not good. Because CGI Thomas cannot put out anything good. This is what we get when CGI Thomas is the focal point. So, right off the bat, taking a look at Henry, I guess we'll start with the face, and then we'll work our way back. How is the face? Well, once again, I'm glad that they just gave Henry a very simple, smiling face. I don't like the goofy expressions that the 2021 Thomas Wooden Railway line used. So a simple, smiling expression is all you need, and I guess I can be thankful they did that to Henry and didn't do him even more dirty. But the face is kind of just whatever. I've never been a big fan of the CGI Henry face in general. I also just really despise CGI Henry in the entire show because they really just mishandle his character. They really ruined his character. It's a true shame. I really pity this Henry because it just represents a whole lot of issues within Thomas and Friends, whether it's merchandise or the TV show. So I guess we'll spin Henry around here. I really don't have much to say about the face because it's a simple, smiling CGI Henry face. It's nothing egregious, nothing crazy. I'm just glad they kept it simple. We do have painted buffers on the front. The front running board is red, just like on James. But already you can notice that Henry just does not have as much length or as much height as James. So taking a look at Henry on the side here, the rivets are much more noticeable on Henry. The detailing is much more noticeable on Henry than it is on James. I think I should bring in James for almost like a side-by-side comparison at some point. We'll do that sooner or later. But Henry, from this angle, doesn't look absolutely terrible when it's just looking at his body. Now, I say that because I'm thinking, oh, James is going to be smaller than Henry. But no, Henry is smaller than James. So Henry's got to be a lot bigger. He's way too tiny. The fact that he doesn't even have an extra wheel here, and you may be saying, well, it's not always about the proportions. Well, basic proportions should be there. When one engine is bigger than the other in the TV show for decades, I think that should be consistent in the merchandise, but it's not. So, Henry's just too tiny. It looks really jarring. At least they got the wheel color correct and the side rod color correct. I mean, we are praising getting colors correct. That's how bad this merchandise is. But I mean, it's just a basic Henry body. Really not much to say about it. I really don't like rivets in the Thomas and Friends universe. I don't think they look good at all. I don't think anybody likes them. They're just ugly dots on these toys. Henry's cab, I guess. Henry's cab doesn't look that good at all, actually. The cab roof just looks way too big. I don't know. I don't like the cab at all. I really don't. Just taking a look at Henry, like feeling the body. Again, the cab is plastic. The cab is not metal. The tender, you can kind of see right here in this picture. The boiler is the only shiny part because the boiler is the only metal part of Henry. Everything else is cheap plastic. Plastic. This is not a die-cast line when 90% of the engine is plastic. False advertising at its finest. But this is the only die-cast metal part. That is it. Everything else is plastic. You can kind of just hear it. So that's a shame. But yeah, so I think Henry's also missing a splasher here as well. I think that's what you call it, a splasher. I think he's missing one of those for sure. Missing a wheel set in the front. Just a real shame because it's Henry the big green engine, not Henry the small green engine. So I really don't like the cab. I think it's pretty ugly, the cab roof. I guess we'll spin Henry around to the backside here and take a look at his tender, which is absolutely terrible. Oh, before we get to Henry's tender, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the cheap Mattel printing. Talk about cheap merchandise. Take a look at this. Right out of the box, this is what Henry looks like on the side. No lining. Smudge lining here as well. Absolutely pathetic. The fact that they are releasing merchandise in 2025 this cheap is a joke. Now, I do have Thomas Wooden Railway engines in the background. Let me zoom out. I do have Thomas Wooden Railway engines in the background, and they do get, wear and tear. But the quality of these Thomas Wooden Railway engines is, they last a lifetime. When is this Mavis from? Like 2001? And look at the condition. The face is absolutely spotless. Henry's in the way. The face is absolutely spotless. It's all wood, except for these side plates, but that's understandable. But it's all wood. Great condition. Lasts a lifetime. Lasts generations. Wooden toys. They last a lifetime. They're fantastic. Undefeated merchandise line. And then we come to this slop. And we got Henry missing lining right out of the packaging. And yeah, you can really just see the color disparity too. Because this is plastic, this is metal, this green is much, I'd say darker, I guess. Just different color green. The wheels are not matching the boiler. This is a real disappointment. He is so much worse than the James. Wow. And the James has gold side rods and gray wheels. Like, that's a massive embarrassment in itself. This Henry is somehow worse than that, and by a mile. This is really bad. Missing a wheel set, smaller than James, which is laughable. 99% plastic, basically, except for the boiler piece. All the details are rubbing off just so easily. I didn't even touch Henry, and that's how he came. Just right out of the factory, looking like absolute garbage. So I guess we'll take a look at his tender now. Now, this is a big joke. This is bad. So how, guys, I beg you to go and look up All Engines Go Push Along Henry after this and just see how it's just so reused. This Push Along Henry is just straight up reused from the All Engines Go version. And now we come to the tender. And how is an All Engines Go James tender better? I'm at a loss for words because, so what would you call this? Like the running board of the tender? I don't know. Henry doesn't even have that on his tender. As you can see, there's just nothing at the bottom. The buffers are connected to just the tender itself. So this is, yeah, that's not good. Henry's tender is probably the worst tender I've seen Mattel put out. And that's really saying something. Buffers unpainted, left green, no running board. I'm just going to call it a running board. I don't care. It's a push-along toy. The cold load looks fine. I mean, I don't think any company could ever mess up a cold load. Leave it to Mattel, though. But yeah, that's a joke of a tender. The disrespect to Henry in the Mattel era continues. That is bad. So, I mean, I really don't even know what to say anymore about this Henry because it's just I'm thoroughly disappointed with it. I think it's up there with the worst releases of this 80th anniversary. Really piss poor. It doesn't even look like Henry, to be honest with you, just because of his lack of size and the fact that he's smaller than James. And then they give us this tender. It's a real shame. So here's a much better shot of James and Henry, kind of side by side. Henry behind James. You can just see how much bigger James is. The cab, definitely, of James is just bigger. James is much longer. His running board is just longer. Henry just looks smaller. And also you can just see how goofy that All Engines Go tender looks on James. Henry was really done dirty in this line. This is a true shame. It really is a shame. Because really good Henry merchandise is absolutely fantastic. And we all know that because, well, I mean, the 2003 Henry profile picture it's a pretty good one. 2003 Henry from the Wooden Railway line is very good. But I cannot say the same for this push-along Henry. Yeah, this is really bad. I will not give this Henry any credit. I have nothing positive to say about this Henry. Absolutely nothing. The color disparity between the plastic and the only piece of what feels like die-cast metal on Henry. Everything else is plastic. Henry's undersized. His proportions are egregious. They're terrible. Absolutely butchered. And then just the fact that it's Mattel merchandise and it's incredibly cheap and we get easily worn off detailing like that. And then look at the piss poor tender. Just an absolute embarrassment. And then just the fact that this is reused from All Legends Go. And it's not really a brand new Henry engine. Not really at all. And you can kind of see his face is coming off there. Like, what a shame. This is a disappointment. Definitely one of the worst, if not the worst. Well, no, nothing beats that motorized Flying Scotsman. This is like top 3 worst 80th anniversary releases, period. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Henry down below in the comments section. This has been my review on the 2025 Push Along Henry. I really was at a loss for words. I was kind of struggling with this review because I really don't think this Henry has anything positive about it. It's another failure for the 80th anniversary in Mattel, Thomas, and friends. I want to thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Before I get out of here, thank you to the members of the channel.